Hi, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the impressive tactics of Xavi Hernandez as he put Valencia to sleep. Although it was a woeful performance in terms of passing and taking shots, Barcelona did come out on top, courtesy of a goal from Robert Lewandowski. Let's take a look at the tactics and all of the different things that Xavi tried to overload the midfield. As he learned from Real Madrid in the Bayern game, that overloading the midfield is really very important for any team. So let's dive right into the tactics to see what Xavi did. In the build-up phase, Barcelona looked to find the centre-backs through Ter Stegen. As Valencia didn't press really high, the midfield was also really high up the pitch. And depending on what Valencia do, Barcelona always had a 4 versus 3 in the build-up phase. And Barcelona as always came with their backline intact, forward trying to push them up the field. Pedri operated as the sole number 10 up in the half space, dragging the player with him, trying to create space. And also the double pivot of Frenkie de Jong and Busquets also drew players, but Jordi Alba inverted into midfield, trying to create a 2 versus 3 in midfield for Barcelona. They also had a 2 versus 1 up front with the sole striker. And surprisingly, just like Real Madrid, they had the 4th midfielder, 5th defender and a 3rd striker, and a player operating depending on how he pressed. This created lots of space for FC Barcelona to operate in, and we often saw that Ansu Fati was the one picked to operate in that half space. Just like Jordi Alba, when Ousmane Dembele inverted, Alejandro Balde did the same by overlapping, trying to cause them to draw back. But if he didn't overlap, he made underlapping runs, creating lots of problems for Valencia, as he drew players out of their position and draw them backwards in order to create some space for Barcelona in these regions in order to exploit. And this was often taken up by Eric Garcia or Jules Koundé, trying to dribble forward into that space, trying to draw them up out of position again. As we've seen for countless times now, teams always try to lock down Sergio Busquets. But Xavi has created a certain kind of fluidity among Barcelona's midfield in order not to allow teams to press Sergio Busquets alone. But Pedri operated most of the time, so it was basically Busquets and Frenkie who circulated their position. And if they were both high, it was Jordi Alba who took up the defensive midfielder position. We also saw Robert Lewandowski making false 9 movements, trying to draw the players out of position to create space, but unfortunately there was no one trying to look to exploit the space by just running into it. This was done because Valencia started to press really high in order to put pressure on Barcelona. This is where Xavi made Ter Stegen come forward into being a 3rd centre back, creating a 3 versus 1. That is more a direct approach from Xavi. In the case of where the ball was with Ansu Fati on the far left-hand side, we saw that he drew a lot of players with him. This is where Jordi Alba made underlapping runs trying to get into this situation. Whether it is Alejandro Balde on the other side inverting or it is Ousmane Dembele inverting, there was a really great emphasis on trying to overload the midfield. And then when the ball is out wide, Barcelona would actually try to get Lewandowski also into these positions where they could overload the midfield even more, where all of these players would then make runs into the box trying to get at the end of that cross. We are now finally starting to see the Frenkie de Jong of Ajax. The one who was so all over the pitch, whether it is creating a double pivot, operating a little bit more deeply, or is it the one that started at Barcelona as an interior, trying to create half up in the half spaces. He's also trying to cover the wide spaces, all running all over the pitch, but Frenkie de Jong is just running everywhere, and we all know about his ability to really keep hold of the ball, trying to keep onto the ball, and who can forget that he's really great at trying to get around players where he would look to actually operate up the pitch with the likes of Pedri, Gavi and Sergio Busquets, and even out wide sometimes. Fati operated most of the time as a second striker, and also Jordi Alba overlapping and keeping the width on the other side. And also the positioning of Frenkie de Jong running up and down the pitch really drew Valencia's players really backward. Frenkie de Jong's free roll actually drew a lot of players together. And also with Balde, Busquets and Pedri going up high on the other side, that drew the whole side of Valencia over to one side. And it created acres of space in these regions for Barcelona to look to exploit, and it was often Pedri who ran into these spaces trying to look to build up from the back, and even the centre backs took advantage of this as well. With all the changes that Xavi made, we saw that Frenkie de Jong took up the space of Sergio Busquets. Frenkie de Jong operated mainly as a third stern centre-back, which allowed Valencia to press Barcelona basically. Depending on what they did, Barcelona sent the wingers inverting with the fullbacks operating really higher. That forced the wider players or wingers from Valencia to actually go back and really help out with the defending, where the centre-backs now had lots of space to move into, or they could just swap positions and then draw Valencia out of position. And this was a great tactic from Xavi. In the end, it was a very open game. Although Xavi had some really good tactics, he was really let down by the players not finishing or being able to complete passes and make good decisions. But as we move forward towards the World Cup, this is a very great victory for Barcelona as we move level on points with Real Madrid, who plays tonight. So let me know down in the comment section what do you guys think about the game and what are your thoughts based on the tactics from Xavi. Also subscribe if you haven't, because your subscription is going to help the channel a lot into growing. Well, thank you very much for watching this video. Goodbye.